beautiful people, to another episode of Mars Day with Mark. This is your week's astrology breakdown for the week of March 19th until March 26th. So sit back, relax. I'm going to give you the facts and also some subjective interpretations of what's going on with this astrology. So this is the current chart of the moment I'm filming this. Feast your eyes, lo and behold. I do it this way so you folks back home can actually look at the chart the way that I'm looking at it, and we can kind of share vision. And I will say on that note, because this is my local chart, ignore the geography. And what I mean is the houses. We're really just going to focus on the planets today and their angles that they're making. And I intend on making this one short and sweet because if you can hear it in my voice, I will let you know right now I'm a little bit under the weather. Energy has been a little low on this side. I am really gonna log this in, get the thumbnail done, and I'm gonna go rest. I'm thanking the spirit of NyQuil for bringing us episode 41 of Mars Day with Mark. And you know what's really crazy? I just want to say for those back home, this is my Leo ass having to make this about me for a second. I just think it's really crazy that when I was born, my ascendant was actually and is actually 17 degrees of Virgo. So how wild, what a synchronicity. As I'm filming this, the moon is opposite Pluto. So it's probably not going to, it's already broken the opposition. By the time you see this, the moon will not be fully opposite, but you'll be feeling this powerful energy through this. So, gang, first thing that you want to pay attention to in this chart is the sun. And we do have some big changes to talk about. And if you are on the northern hemisphere of the globe, that's going to say that come tomorrow, it's actually going to be springtime. So the temperatures have been fluctuating quite a bit. They always do, quite literally. But I can attest personally to the fact that it was like freezing cold the last couple of days. And now the sun is out and it's beautiful. And we're up in the upper 70s Fahrenheit. So spring equinox. Get excited. Oh my goodness. That's the point. Zero Aries, Aries point, breath of fresh air, a new beginning. You know how that goes. So happy astrological new year for the tropical astrologers. How exciting. If you are Aries, stand up. I would love to see some interaction in the comments. So if you are an Aries, for instance, I would really like the Aries to just let me know that it's my time to shine. Let me see that in the comments if you don't mind. But beyond the Aries sun, people celebrating their birthdays, I want everybody to know for the next 30 days, because the sun moves about 1 degree every single day in the 360 wheel. For the next 30 days, we are going to be focused on self. And that is in the simplest form what the Aries energy represents. But we could take this and extrapolate this so deep into the realms of purpose or competition or conquest. And on some level, with this being the cardinal fire sign, I think Aries asks us to question/consider what our vision is. What do we want to create? The sun is actually exalted in the Aries constellation, and that just means that this is the best time to express and know yourself and center yourself within your own life. So for the next 30 days, on top of everything I just said, this sun and Aries energy is going to ask us to bring in the new energy and allow space for transformation. Self-concept and identity is going to be paramount and very important that you choose who you are and let your life revolve around that identity. Okay? Very important. I want to show you guys kind of like what's up with the grid. If you want to learn how to read charts like me or anybody else in the community, you're going to want to join Simplified Astrology. The link is in the bio. So the sun has been breaking out of the square with Vesta. We've been in this arc of cleaning up our lives and just really organizing and getting focused. So I see opportunities to transform this week. Last week with the sun breaking the conjunction with Neptune, going through the later degrees of Pisces, I feel like this has been quite an emotional week. The sensitivities have been high. So I think with this week ahead, the one we're breaking down, we should see a little bit more stabilization with the sun getting out of the water sign and breaking away from Neptune. We should see some grounding, some deeper integration. And sensitivity is always going to be a thing, but I do see us more integrated. So pardon me. I feel like that wasn't the smartest sentence, but I'm trucking along, y'all. So thanks for bearing with me. If you like this video at any point, please do drop that like. It means the world to me. Let's go through the planet degrees really quick. My idea, I got my notes, but my idea was let me just freestyle this one and trust the spirit, open myself to receive, and then we're gonna make this one amazing. So before I tell you guys about the lunar cycle and we start working through some of the other planets, I just want to go off degrees really quick. So yeah, tomorrow you already saw that we are going to be going into a new sun cycle. The moon, we'll talk about that in a second. So today, Mercury is at 17 degrees of Aries. We've got Venus at 9 degrees of Pisces. We've got Jupiter at 14 degrees of Taurus. I skipped Mars. I be doing that shit sometimes, y'all. Mars is at 27 degrees of Aquarius, all right? Saturn is at 12 Pisces. Outer planets don't really move too much, but we have, and dude, Ephemeris updated their asteroids because some of you guys might be like, what are these symbols? And I might be like, yo, what are these symbols, man? If you're wondering what those are, I'm genuinely wondering the same thing. I got some studying to do, man. Man, man. Okay, let me not get distracted by the shiny object, even though I am. So that being said, guys, asteroids are definitely a thing, and you can add them to your chart and you can interpret them. So Uranus is at 20 Taurus. We've got Neptune at 27 Pisces, and we've got Pluto at 1 Aquarius, and the North Node being at 15 Aries, South Node at 15 Libra. So 1 week from now, the planet Mercury doesn't move too much, 25 degrees Aries. We've got Venus at 18 Pisces, Mars at 3 Pisces. So we are having Mars ingress on Saturday, the 23rd, just so you know. That's when Mars makes the switch from Aquarius to Pisces. We've got Jupiter making its way to 16 degrees of Taurus. It's going up a couple degrees. We've got Saturn moving up to 13 degrees of Pisces. We've got Uranus sitting still, Neptune sitting still for the most part, Pluto sitting still. Nodes are trucking along. Lilith is going to move up a degree as well. And what else we got? Okay, so let's break down some of these planets. I want to tell you about Mercury. Mercury is in a pretty interesting position right now. Mercury just crossed the North Node, and Mercury is about to cross Chiron. First thing you should know about Mercury is this is how we think and how we interact with the world. On some level, Mercury governs the powers of perception. With Mercury in the first sign of Aries, this reflects us being direct and intentional in the way that we express or communicate ourselves in the way that we interact with the world. And that's broad, more holistic, but I will just say that this could talk about aggressiveness, passion, hard levels of focus. Aries does carry an impulsive energy, so that may be something to look out for is that slowing down deliberately, or on the complete opposite hand, finding channels and avenues to put your aggression into and really push yourself and see how you can get that speed out in a good way. That might be what's required. Part of me is a little bummed right now, guys, that I'm sick, because if I wasn't, I would be kickboxing right now. So like, man, in spirit, I am fucking going crazy right now. You got to remember to breathe out every time you strike. I don't know who needed to hear that, but that's like literal, and I believe that's a good metaphor for something. Couldn't tell you what right now, but that's what Mercury is telling me. When we talk about Mercury conjunct Chiron, man, this is something else. Let me tell you. So Mercury is going to be making this conjunction with Chiron really tomorrow, the day that the sun moves into Aries. And, this is healing the mind, simply. So this week is going to be a blessing for everybody on earth, simply in the way that we get integration within our mental lives, healing in our mental lives, healing when it comes to self-image, healing when it comes to identity, and even when it comes to communication, because that in itself can open up a broad spectrum of wounding. People who don't know how to use their voice, or maybe have been discouraged from using it, talked out of using it, manipulated out of using it. You know, I've seen also when it comes to Mercury Chiron aspects that there's a lot of people that are so smart that their own brilliance can refute their understanding, leaving them feeling stupid about things that are very high level when they're a very smart person. So slowing down and taking your time is really going to help here. Like I said, in the mental plane, but maybe in the physical, we might need to move our energy around perhaps. I'm sorry to make this a drawn out conversation about Mercury Chiron. I just want to bring in the electricity, man, and just let everybody feel this energy. Tomorrow, pay attention to it, I will say. This could be a really great time to journal, to write, to speak, and to communicate, and to do a mirror talk even. We talk about those often, but that would be a really great time to do a mirror talk tomorrow when the spring equinox hits. And I'm actually glad that I sat down long enough looking at this to receive this thought I intended on sharing with you guys. So I would recommend, if you're listening to me right now on this podcast, I appreciate it. And if I can see some fire emojis in the chat and in the comments, that would mean the world to me, truly, just to know that you're picking up on what I'm putting down. I think the best thing we can do come Wednesday is celebrate and open up and set some goals because it's the new year. On the Gregorian calendar, January 1st is the new year. We set resolutions, and a lot of people are kind of done with them by the month, by its end. So when it comes to this astrological new year, this can be a great time to get a breath of fresh air and really rebirth ourselves. So my advice would be to do some spring cleaning. Listening to your spirit knows where you're meant to go. Because I just kind of saw and felt in my heart, some people are going to be traveling around this time. So be safe. Mercury Chiron is also about travel and communication. Just be safe, slow down. And beyond that, I just want to say spring cleaning for the ones that are going to be around their house or in their fourth house in their roots. Go clean up and make sure that you have space for new blessings. And that's going to make everything a whole lot better. And then set some new goals wherever you end up being on the earth. Write down some new goals and just remember this is really time for resolutions. So you can do powerful magic right now, turning the wheel. I should be the one to say this confidently, but I believe this is Ostara. If I'm wrong, one of the pagans or Wiccans correct me in the chat. This is Ostara, isn't it? I'm gonna blame it on the NyQuil. I know how the wheel works, but I'm just like, what's the name? I know it's the spring equinox. I know it's cardinal fire, etc. But yeah, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. So happy, blessed Ostara, and if it's not, correct me, and then blessed be that one. So when it comes to Venus, let's talk about her because that gives a pretty good picture of Mercury Aries. But also, as I'm thinking about Mercury Aries, I do want to say there's something else I'm seeing in my mind's eye. And I'm kind of glad I'm doing the video this way now that I think about it. But Mercury in Aries talks about letting it out and just releasing shit. Mercury or Aries is the clean slate, it's the fresh start. And when it comes to you having a mind and a mental life and ability to express things, I have two thoughts for you that anything suppressed can get distorted. That's one. And then number two, conflict delayed can often be conflict multiplied. So putting those thoughts together, you can have a whole lot of conversations. But my point really that I'm seeing is that this energy, especially with the Chiron conjunction, it could be a really time to get some shit off your chest. Like I said, journaling, communicating, speaking, whatever you got to do. They say speak now or forever hold your peace. And it's given like, if you're not at peace, just let that shit out. Speak. Let the universe know. Because I want to empathize with somebody listening to my video because I know something I personally struggle with a lot is that I know that I create my life and I know that the law of attraction works and even my words are my most powerful spells. So how do you, the question is like, how the fuck do you express what you're going through without wasting energy on complaining when you don't enjoy the things that you're going through? Because life is, got its ups and downs, ebbs and flows. I don't think most people really expect life to be perfect, but when you do get conscious and you know that you create energy as you speak, it becomes a lot harder to complain and to bitch and to be upset about things because you don't want to participate in creating more problems, essentially. So I just want to say that's awesome. And a lot of people who operate on that mentality are very productive and they get a lot done, and their agency and responsibility actually creates a lot of freedom and success for them in their life. And that's beautiful. But then you can notice that these people have a hard time asking for help. They have a hard time really embracing their problems or solving their problems sometimes because their problems are like suppressed and internalized. So I just want to say that shit is fucking rough, man. And I'm like, as I'm saying this now, I'm like, is this why I got sick? It might literally be. There, was talking to my girl about it, and I was just like, I think it's, I think it's a multitude of things my body's trying to teach me right now. But that might be one of them is to just let things off my chest, don't let them build up. Like we don't want to complain. I heard Leo Skeppy, and he's a great man. He's got a great podcast, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know him. If you're watching me, there's a chance you've seen his podcast, Aware and Aggravated. But I remember he mentioned about complaining. It's okay to complain as long as you're moving forward. If you aren't moving forward, he's a Pisces, by the way. If you're not moving forward and then you're complaining, you actually are just wasting energy. And as long as you got the will and take the action, I would just say you at least owe it to yourself to express that shit. And this is a delicate conversation to have, I think, because really it comes down to that message that you're sending to yourself and the universe. Like, what do you genuinely want from your life? And only you and God knows, truly. You know? So I hope something here helped. Let's talk about Venus because I was going to talk about her a minute ago, and then I got pulled back into Mercury. They said, get that shit off your chest, man. Get it off your soul, even. Like, I'm a Chiron and Scorpio, so that's my bias for this conversation. I'm a Mercury and Leo. I don't know if anyone asked, but like, hey, that's my bias for the conversation. We got Venus in Pisces at 9 degrees. And at the end of the week, my friends, Venus will be at 18 degrees of Pisces. And how beautiful is that? Oh, man. And you know what's even more crazy? The aspects are going crazy, y'all. Do you see this? Some of y'all are seeing this. I have to look at the update because they added so much. This is the lunar apogee black moon making an opposition to Venus. And I believe I can't tell you for sure, but it's another version of Lilith that's making a conjunction to Venus. So, wow. Um, oh my goodness. Let's take it a little bit more basic quickly, or first, I should say. We don't gotta rush. Venus is the planet of love, the goddess of love. She indicates how we relate to ourselves and how we fulfill any one of our needs. And underlying all of our needs, we're able to determine a system of values for our life. And this is really what this planet shows us within the natal chart and how this is expressed through transit too. More specifically in transit, you'll see Venus really showing us what the world likes and dislikes and how things grow and how you nurture yourself and connect with others, all right? So Venus in Pisces is so beautiful because you put the planet of love in the sign of the universe, and then that's universal love or unconditional love. And every placement in astrology will indicate a spectrum of possibilities. This one specifically talks about for those in relationships, you're sharing a dream or deepening into it. You may be falling in love more and more every single day. having a really beautiful romance that's transcendental, that's blissful, that really brings you to spirit. And a little fun fact about Pisces from our astrologers, this is ruled by the planet of Jupiter. So that's why I can say Venus in Pisces really gives us a more spiritual lens to view relationships through and giving us a space to even unite with universal consciousness through the way we love each other and ourselves. And that's really what unconditional love means, is to love for the sake of love, basically connecting to the world with the underlying assumption that everything is good, aka God is good. So that's beautiful. On a polarity note, so take a deep breath. Oh shit. On a polarity note, Venus in Pisces could look very disillusioning. It could look a little bit confusing. You know, this could be like loving, relating through your imagination. Um, and that's an interesting thought in itself, but the word that really echoes in my head is projecting. And we can really tie this back to Jupiter again. It's really important everybody understands their Jupiter, because if we don't know what our meaning is and where we're going and what our journey is about, it's easy to really run from that question. Like, everybody does have a purpose. If you don't answer the call of purpose, you don't find it. If you don't look for something, you don't find it. If you don't knock, the door isn't open. If you don't ask, you don't receive. So that's kind of the idea, is that if people aren't looking for their purpose, if people aren't considering their manner of being or reason for being, it's easy to be escaping the question altogether. And the challenge with Venus and Pisces for a lot of people is that relationships with others, especially romantic love, can be the fastest, easiest, most comfortable place to escape feelings of nihilism, confusion, or despondency with life. And that's not fucking fair. Because what happens is a person who draws the interest of whoever's escaping becomes the cure all for this person's suffering. They become the purpose, they become a substitute for purpose. And this just means ultimately sacrifices are made, given. These people are brought all the way off their center. It's really low key for some people, a form of psychic vampirism, where they can steal the energy of their lover, and then whenever they find themselves somewhat okay, and the meaning resurfaces, aka Jupiter goes retrograde or some shit, like, it's see ya, sayonara, deuces, breaking up with you, or you're breaking up with me, and then we just trade a whole lot of confusion because ultimately there was no devotion to a path before the relationship started. So that's a crazy conversation. Somebody needed to hear it. And this comes from a seventh house Pisces. I hope you understand. That's experience. Can't say that I've gone through that experience exactly, but I feel like we all might have felt that on some level universally. I leave this like blurry and esoteric, so people, I don't even want to call it blurry. Clarity is really our focus, but I leave it esoteric so we can connect to this on a universal lens. I'm making sense to myself. I hope this is making sense to you. I'm working on being a better communicator. So I just want to say that, we got a Venus Pisces week, and beyond the relationship part of Pisces, this does indicate how we grow in life and what we need and how we indulge. And Venus in Pisces doesn't really care too much for limits. So hedonism may be something that we feel called to embrace. And I'm not really here to make judgments unnecessarily. I just want to present information as clearly as I can. But, just consider that hedonism might be a thing on your radar. And pleasure in itself is not a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with pleasure. But I just want to encourage everybody to think about how instant gratification and delayed gratification can give us two different results. One not necessarily being better than the other, but and I think this is me projecting my more serious side out. I just want to say that this the serious side of myself says, consider your long-term goals. We do live only in the moment. It's important you enjoy your life. Ultimately, life is an emotional experience, but do remember that you have long-term goals. So that's all I got to say there. And on Friday, I want to show you guys that Venus is going to be making a conjunction with Saturn. And what does that mean? If I wasn't so congested, I'd try to sing Real Love. It means real love. You guys know that song? It's real love. Venus Saturn conjunction. And building real bonds. That doesn't have to be romantic, just with people, with yourself, an integrity check within love. And this could look like balancing your finances. Infinite abundance is really what this feels like with Jupiter ruling over these planets. Venus is telling me right now that if you do love correctly, it should increase your stability. It should help you get rich. It should help you enjoy your life more and be more prosperous. There's no reason it shouldn't. Venus Saturn conjunct is going to call us to address our fears when it comes to other people, because we can ultimately only expect what we project. So that's really important to consider. We've got Mars in the sign of Aquarius and 27 degrees as well. So I want you to know that on Saturday, it's when the action is happening. We're going to have that Mars ingress into Pisces. Mars really reflects our masculine energy, Venus more so being the feminine. So the feminine draws in and receives, Mars, the masculine, pushes out. That's why you can even see it in the arrow. Mars in Aquarius is mad scientist energy and getting things done, organizing. I just want to say once again, man, because pictures and symbols are worth 1,000 words. This really is mad scientist energy. And you may have been noticing in the last couple of weeks with this Mars in Aquarius, accelerated thought processes. That's one thing I've been noticing. Like, damn, can we slow this fucking car down? Good Lord. Like, this should be so quick. So, Mars in Aquarius is really about fighting for the people, standing up for the community, standing up for the world. And if you've been looking at any other media on the internet, you've been noticing the need for activism, the need for change is evident. And this is a real Aquarius Pisces Mars ingress message. Can we visualize world peace for a second? Please. Can we please do it just for a sec? We can, so please do it with me. And if you haven't commented yet, or if you want to throw another comment in the chat, you could throw that world emoji, the peace emoji, or we could do like Aquarius world peace. Oh, that'd be so good. So we can all see it. Every time someone sees those emojis, we're literally sending the energy of world peace out. Messages are so damn important, guys. Mars is going to be in Pisces for probably 3, 4 weeks. Well, I'm tripping. It's going to be like at least 5 to 6 weeks. You know, you can check your ephemeris and you never have to guess. Ultimately, that's the message there. If you look at the data, you never have to just make shit up and be filibustering. Oh, yeah. So, Mars in Pisces, what does this really mean, guys? This is compassionate action. This is about removing things from your life. That's what Mars is kind of for, directing our energy in the art of severance, letting go of certain things. So, I would encourage people always, but definitely with this transit, to let go of their limiting beliefs and let go of the things that make them drained, dry, and exhausted. Quit making your sacrifices in barren land or to those that don't appreciate your gifts. That's what Mars in Pisces tells me is that, this also may spur the insight and impulse in some to start new charities and to donate and to really be compassionate in their action, to serve the community, to create benefits for those less fortunate than them. That's what I'm seeing as well. Donating, sharing, giving. This is charity. This is a very beautiful thing, but ultimately to do that, we got to rise above the blame game, the victim mentality, and cycles of fear, oppression, and persecution. And that's deep, man. And the word I hear is how. And then the answer, I think, is the only way to stop any cycle is to create a new one. So the power of visualization, the power of creation that is vested within all of us is not to be misunderstood or, ooh, some of y'all are hearing the word as I'm trying to find it, y'all. Not to be understated. That's the word. Yeah, not to be understated. That's what I mean. So, damn, I forgot about the moon, y'all. So if you, I always save the best for last. There's no forgetting. I'm reading my notes, in a spiral. Let me leave the best for last, guys. Let's talk about this full moon that's happening this week. We know that we got some ingresses. We got the sun moving. So I'm just gonna kind of full circle this one because it may have been a lengthier conversation, but I just want to keep the facts organized. Okay, gang? So really, today it's the 19th. Tomorrow, the 20th, we're gonna have the sun move into Aries. And then on Friday, which is the 22nd, we are gonna have Venus conjunct Saturn. On the 23rd, so I guess I'm doing this correctly. This is beautiful. On the 23rd, Mars is gonna move into Pisces. And then on the 25th, 24th, so the Sunday night, Monday morning. So the 24th to the 25th, we're going to have this full moon in Libra. And this is beautiful. So let me set it exactly on the full moon. The moon opposite the sun. This is our full moon in Libra. And this is really beautiful, guys, because that just kind of says that this week pressure is building and there's going to be a deep release when it comes to Sunday/Monday, early Monday morning, Sunday night, Monday morning. So if I was you and I was magically inclined, I would probably be doing my spell work on Sunday night and getting my rituals going, or Monday. But either way, you got a couple days to work with that energy. This is really about relationships, guys. We're ending the lunar cycle, I should say, culminating it. So this really initiates a cycle of release. When you look up in the sky and the moon is full, that just says that your moon should be full, your heart should be full. And then if you watch the moon after the full moon, it'll start waning and releasing and getting smaller and shedding the light. So, same way, this is the cycle of release for everybody. And that's pretty simplistic, but yeah, if you can really take time to align with the current and the moon cycles and signs, and I really would recommend everybody do some form of spell work, truly, just because what that does is help you align with the cycle where you co-create with these forces, the lunar forces, the solar forces, the universal forces. You're pushing energy out, you're receiving the energy from them. And, basically, like I said, by doing these spells or any type of magic on the lunations, you're basically harnessing the power from the geometry of these cycles, this one being the opposition. So if that makes sense and resonates with you, you know, you're on your way. and um and if you could leave like the mind blown emoji, you don't have to, but that would tell me that you heard this thought in this video in the comments. But if that doesn't make sense, you may want to join Simplified Astrology, and I'll put you on to all of these things, the cycles, phases, etc. But I don't digress. Moving back to the sharper points, I just want to say that this really means we're letting go of relationships and relationship patterns that don't serve us or others. And that's really crazy. And what you do want to pay attention to, guys, is that the sun and the moon, they're very close to the node. And what that means is when we hit this new moon, that's the solar eclipse. So it's eclipse season and things are about to get a little bit unstable. You need to be ready to make these changes and focus on the stability because we're having huge endings, which also means huge beginnings. And it's vitally important to stay focused on your luck and blessings and leave the bullshit alone always. I can't emphasize this enough, y'all, now more than ever. Now more than ever. This is about staying devoted to your path. And if you have yet to make that decision or commitment, commit to yourself. Truly. Ooh, my spirit guides need me to say, like, robbing others in the world blind because you don't know how to love yourself. Yeah, I had to let that out, dude. That shit hurt. Just having, like, letting it, the thought fly by my mind. I had to release that shit, man. I'll take a dose of that accountability too, man. But wow, we do have to love ourselves. We do have to balance ourselves and maintain composure and focus within our own lives. And that's the truth. What else do we have in this cycle? I'm looking really quick. There's a couple asteroids I gotta research. Like, wow. So there are going to be some big changes. I'm seeing Uranus square the sun. I'm seeing Pluto sextile the sun. Opportunities to transform. This is some good stuff, guys. So I just really encourage you that sometime this week, whether it be tomorrow on the equinox or it's on this full moon lunation, that we set some goals, we set some targets and some objectives. But I would really recommend for this one specifically, coming Sunday night, Monday morning, that we really do something symbolic and powerful to release our old self, okay? For real, for real, for real. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you loved it. I hope it touched you and really gave you some insight, some things to think about, and helped you further integrate the art and the science of astrology into your lives. If you enjoyed this video, please leave that like. If you do want to join Simplified Astrology, I want you lucky ducks to know, you cool cats to know, you can use coupon code FIRE to join for a discount. So you never go wrong investing in yourself. Take the time. You will thank yourself later. I love you guys. I'm going to see you on the next one. Blessed be, blessed we. I'm out.